welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany. If you're new here, please like and subscribe for more bookish content. Today we're going to be going through my favorite book of every month so far this year, and then my predictions for what my favorite book will be finishing off the year. So I started off reading thrillers at the beginning of the year, and my favorite book that I read in January was the second in the Housemaid series. I don't have a copy of the second one. I read it on my Kindle, but it's super good. McFadden is one of my favorite authors, and I just love her books. They're so easy to read, so bingeable, and is her only series that I'm aware of where it follows the same main character throughout the book. So there's 3 in the series, and then there's a short story about her getting married too. Basically just about a housemaid that goes to work for different families, and some creepy stuff is going on with the families, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and then there's always just such a huge twist in the end. So it's so fun. They're so gripping, and I could just binge them in like a day, because that was my favorite book of January. And in February I read the Kindred Curse saga, and I would say my favorite book that I read out of those 3 was the second one, The Glow of the Everflame. It was so good. Oh, the romance in this book is just so good. It's a romantasy, follows like a mortal girl who is a healer, and it's like a fae world. The fae are called the Descended. They're like part god, and then there's mortal beings, and they are kind of like against each other, but they're coexisting. And the main character, Diem, is trying to figure out what happened to her mom, who is also a healer, and she disappeared. And so she's trying to figure out what happened to her mom, and she's taking her mom's place as the healer for basically the royal Descended. And she is kind of like on the side of the resistance, but then she starts to kind of have a thing for one of the Descended that she is working for. That's a royal. And it's just such a good slow burn. I love the FMC Diem. I know a lot of people hate on her, but I like her. She's like feisty, and I just love the banter in the book between her and Luther. And the first book is kind of more like a character development, and you're kind of trying to lay the story and world building and everything, but the second book, it really picks up, and it's so good. So that was my favorite book in February. And then in March I read the Magnolia Park series, and my favorite out of those books was Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. This is the second Magnolia book, and it is so good. I don't want to give anything away if you haven't read this series. Basically, it's a toxic romance. It follows British socialites. It's kind of Gossip Girl vibes, because they're all rich and very like, she's very into fashion like Blair Waldorf, and it follows a group of friends, and they have a bunch of messy relationships like in Gossip Girl. The second book is my favorite, and I really enjoyed it. It's, you know, it follows like BJ and Magnolia. They're just trying to like get back at each other. They're on and off again relationship. He's, you know, having sex with all these other girls, and she is trying to move on from him by getting with other guys, but they always find themselves drawn to one another. And in this book, she's with, I don't want to say who it is, but a character that is in the Daisy Hates novels, and I just love her relationship with this guy, and their relationship is so cute. I like them better than like Magnolia and BJ. That's why I love this book, because it follows their relationship. It has BJ and Magnolia in it too, but it has a lot of her relationship with this other guy that she's with. And if you don't know, the Daisy Hates books, you're supposed to read them in tandem with the Magnolia Park series. So you have the first Magnolia Parks book, and then you read the Daisy Hates book, and then you read the second Magnolia Parks book, and then the second Daisy Hates book. And Daisy Hates is just another character in this group of friends. She's not really friends with Magnolia, but she is dating one of Magnolia's really close friends, Christian. And so it focuses on Daisy's relationship with Christian and her brother, who is a gang lord, Julian. And so you get Julian and Daisy's point of views think you get Christian's point of view too. But in the Magnolia books, you get Magnolia and BJ's point of view. So I loved this series. It's a God tier series for me, and it's probably my favorite. It's going to be my favorite series of the year. In May, I started the Throne of Glass series. So my favorite book of May was The Throne of Glass. I like this better than Assassin's Blade. I've started with Assassin's Blade. Assassin's Blade is crucial for, you know, giving you the context of the story, you know, the main character's background and kind of the context of Throne of Glass. And Throne of Glass is when it starts to actually get really good. She is basically an assassin who is imprisoned. She's a prisoner, and this king is getting together a bunch of different assassins or criminals and having them compete through games on who is going to be the king's hand, like his assistant, to go and basically assassinate people, or, you know, whatever he needs them to do for him, for his evil kingdom. And so that's basically the premise of the first book, but this whole series gets even deeper and crazier. But I really enjoyed this book. It was action-packed and it has romance in it too. So this was my favorite book of May. June, I started a lot of really good series this year, guys. I started the Boys of Tommen series. I'm holding up Keeping 13, but it's only because I don't have Binding 13. Binding 13 is the book that I read in June, and it was my favorite book of that month. This is a high school romance. Don't typically like to read about like high school romances because I'm older, but this series is just so good. It's not just a romance about like typical high school stuff and drama. It follows Shannon Lent, who has a very, very, very rough upbringing, and her parents are abusive, and there's like alcoholism involved, and it follows her relationship with Johnny Kavanaugh, who she meets at this prep school basically, and he is a professional rugby player, and she's very shy and, you know, soft-spoken because of everything that she's gone through, and she was actually bullied at her school before the school that she's at with Johnny, and it just follows their cute little sweet relationship, and I love it. And I just like that it follows very serious topics about, you know, family abuse and addiction and everything. These topics aren't necessarily always covered, and so I really appreciate that about these books. And it's such great found family, because even though she's having a terrible, terrible, terrible life at home, she has like her friends who are there for her at Tommen. Is that what it's called? I don't remember what the academy is called. But at school, she has her friends that are there for her and Johnny, and it's just this really good, great series. And I really enjoy the other couples in this book as well. So it's a great series. But check your trigger warnings. And then her book in July was Time of Your Life by Jessa Hastings. Hastings is the same author as the Magnolia Park series, so I had to check out her book because I love her writing. She just has like such great, like beautiful poetic writing and a great way of describing feelings, and just such great drama and everything in her books. Time of Your Life is actually an interesting premise because it follows two famous people. The FMC is a supermodel and the MMC is a rock star, and it just follows their tumultuous relationship. And the rock star is like a bad boy, like he is very reckless and has a like struggles with addiction problems, big partier, big freaking hothead, gets himself into huge fights all the time every time he goes out, and his publicist and his team is trying to like tame him and draw him back, but he doesn't care. Like he just says whatever the hell he wants to say because he's famous. And the supermodel, she's more like mellow and chill, but it's just a toxic romance book, and it's hard to even like the MMC. But I think maybe you're not supposed to like the MMC. There's going to be a next book, and it kind of ended on a cliffhanger, so I'm interested to see where this book goes. But My suspicion is that she's going to end up with one of the other characters in this book. I don't want to give it away, but my suspicion is she's going to end up with that character. So I think you're intentionally supposed to not like the main character in this book. But I really enjoyed that book, and that was my favorite book of July. August, my favorite book was Mile High. It's the first in the Windy City series. This is a hockey romance, and I just love this couple. I was like a playboy, arrogant, kind of like bad boy MMC. I think it's Xander. And then Evie is the FMC, and she's like sassy. She's his flight attendant because he's a professional hockey player, and she is the flight attendant that is assigned basically to the team's planes. And so she's with them the whole season, and he's just used to getting whatever he wants and having girls fawning all over him. And she doesn't care that he's a professional hockey player. Like, he tries to pull that crap with her and boss her around a little bit, and she's literally like he asks her for an iced tea or something, and she's like, they're in the cooler over there, you can get it yourself. Like, so they just have the best banter, and I really enjoyed it. She's also a plus size FMC, and she's always been like made fun of for her weight and everything, and it's just so cute how he makes her feel beautiful in her own skin, and I just love that book. It's just such a sweet book. So Mile High, that was my favorite book of August. And then September, I started the House of Devil series, and my favorite book was The City of God's Monsters. These books are huge. This book, I ate it up. It was so freaking good. A fantasy book with some romance in it. It follows Lauren Alla, who is immortal, and this is like an urban fantasy, so there's like a lot of like supernatural creatures and everything that are just, you know, in this world. And then there's humans too, and she's a human. She's going to a supernatural academy, and suddenly these people are after her, and we don't know why. And Darian, who is the MMC, is the leader of the House of Devil, or the leader of the Seven Devils, which is like basically supernatural bounty hunter. So he's hired to go and kill certain supernatural creatures, and he gets hired to go kill her, and he sees that she's human, and so he's like, wait, why are they so interested? Why are they paying me so much money to kill this human girl? And so it's kind of like a mystery fantasy. You're trying to figure out why they're interested in Lauren, and then it's also just like the best romance between Darian and Lauren. I don't know how to say her name, guys. It's not Lauren, it's Lauren. It's just kind of hard to say when you're just used to saying Lauren, but it's just so good. Like, their banter is amazing, and like Darian Castle, he's like a sweetheart, but he's also like a bad boy, and I love that. Favorite book of October, I finally started the Empyrean series and Fourth Wing. I read Fourth Wing. I loved this freaking book. It was definitely by far my favorite book of October. If you don't know, like if you're living under a rock and you don't know what Fourth Wing is, basically a academy that is kind of like a military academy, but for dragon riders, and there's certain people that are riders and then certain people are scribes. But anyways, Violet is training to be a rider, and there's dragons in this book, and her wing leader is Xaden Ryerson, and that's the love interest in this book. It's enemies to lovers, and there's a huge twist in this book at the end that I really was not expecting. The romance in this book is top tier. Like, it is so good. So if you love romantasy, I highly recommend this book if you have not already read it. So we are in the middle of November right now. It's not over yet, so I'm not positive what my favorite book will be or what books I'm going to get to this month, but I'm pretty sure that my favorite book of the month is either going to be Saving Six or Redeeming Six. That is the third and fourth book in the Boys of Tommen series, and I just finished Saving Six and I loved it so much. Like, the couple in that book is my favorite couple of the series so far, and it follows like Joey Lynch, who is Shannon from the first book's brother, and I don't want to butcher her name, but he calls her Malloy. I don't know how to say her first name. I have to look that up so that I don't sound stupid when I pronounce it, but he always calls her Malloy by her last name anyway. And it just follows their relationship. They are like friends, and they've always just had like a flirtatious relationship for basically the whole like 4 years. They've just had like a flirtatious relationship, and she's been dating another guy, and he works for her dad, and so he kind of just like doesn't want to go there with her because he doesn't want to lose his job, and like he has respect for her dad, and so he has not gotten a relationship with her. But they just have this like flirtatious banter back and forth, and you could tell that they really like each other. And it also focuses on Joey Lynch's addiction. He is Shannon from the first book's brother. Very rough upbringing, abusive father, alcoholic father that just doesn't do the right thing by leaving their father. And so it covers, you know, a lot of what he has to go through at home and trying to take care of his younger siblings and be there for them. And then his relationship, his addiction because of that, and then his relationship with Malloy. So I really enjoyed that book. Probably be my favorite if the next book in the series about them is not my favorite. In December, I'm not 100% sure what all books I'm going to get to, but I know I'm going to be getting to the Addicted series. The first Addicted to You by Krista and Becky Ritchie. I think the next book in this series will probably be my favorite book of December, because I know that this book series is highly loved by a lot of people, and it's a toxic romance, which is right up my alley. First book, I enjoyed it, but it was only like 3 stars, but I think that this is the type of series that it gets better and better as you get further along. If you don't know, this follows Lily and Lo. Lily is a sex addict, Lo is an alcoholic. They are best friends, but they are fake dating and living together, trying to basically keep their families off their back because they don't want their families to know about their addictions. And it just follows their relationship and their love story, and they're about their like toxic enabling each other's addictions. So I'm excited to read the next book in this series, which is called Ricochet. I don't have a copy of it, but I think that'll probably be my favorite book of December. So thank you for joining me for this video. Comment down below what your favorite books of the year were and what books you want to get to before 2026, and I will see you in the next one.